We'll do a bit of surveying reasonably soon and check whether that stuff is of interest to you guys. Looks like we're now live streaming. Welcome to the world. Welcome to you if you're joining us on YouTube. Welcome to those flying into the Zoom session right now. Welcome if you are on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to have the team have a look at the markets today. My name is Paul Bottrell, and I am from Actions to Wealth. I'm the founder, and we're going to have the trading team come in and talk to you about the market as we go forward. I am really looking forward to hearing the views as we start and get towards, as Gordon Scott calls it, D-Day. His prediction for the market to pull back around this time is pretty strong. So we're looking for some indications of whether we see some tops in some of these markets. We're just waiting for some of the team to come in. We've got Ainslie in at the moment. We're expecting to have the full team in just a little bit late starting following that interview with Julian McCree and Gordon Scott. If you get a chance to watch that on any of the channels, please have a look. It's been brilliant stuff. It is good to have that kind of caliber education going out to the world for free as part of what we do at Actions to Wealth. Welcome along, Ainslie. How are you?
Hi, great. I've just had my first AstraZeneca shot, so I'm feeling like I've been run over by a Mack truck, but I've just watched that interview with Gordon and it's brilliant. You really must watch it.
Honestly,
really
I cannot wait to get those two together in Bali for a trading session and have
look out.
one of them on Forex and just watching them do this stuff. You know, it's interesting when you start seeing those really long-term experienced guys get at it just the way they think and what works for them, and the commonness of some of the answers were real of interest. The amount of times they agreed with each other in 45 minutes was stunning. So awesome session for that. We're going to get on with the market update today. We're without Julian for this session. The early session was recorded. He's got a family commitment at the moment, so he is away. But we're going to start off with lectures on fundamentals. So if you're looking to understand markets, understanding fundamentals is an absolute key. At the end of the day, fundamentals drive the market. They're the big picture stuff that makes a difference. Alexis, what lies ahead of us this week fundamentally?
Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone. All right. Well, as you know, fundamentals takes a while to set up. So I'm not looking at anything different. My focus is still on the China and the Aussie market because I think that is one place where opportunities are at the moment. Let me illustrate that with a screen share, and I will show you some of the data that is a bit more evident in this. So what I'm looking at now is the interest rate differentials. So that would mean looking at the China bond yields. All right, I'm going to split my screen into two here so we can do a quick comparison. And the US bond yields. All right, so this is interest rate differentials. And if you notice the interest rate differential right now, you can see that on the left we have China, on the right with the US. You can see the way the bond yields actually are very different. And this phenomenon sometimes occurs because capital flows are attracted to higher yielding currencies, right? So as the rate of one currency increases relative to another, investors are naturally attracted to higher yielding currency because of higher interest. So, and additionally, the cost of owning the lower yielding currency kind of increase because of the bond yield differential moves being in favor of the currency that is sold. So for example, the cost of owning the renminbi and selling the USD, will kind of cause that interest, that strength differential that we are looking at. And with the difference in the yields, think of it as money is flowing into whatever investment that gives them a higher return. So the demand for renminbi definitely favors, like if you're thinking of investing in two currencies, which currency give you the better interest rate, right? So China is, in terms of government bond yields, right, in terms of returns over a prolonged a certain period of time, but you can see even their two-year interest rate, two-year bond yield is 2.73. The US is only 0.15. So if you're just going to put your money in a currency to earn the bond yields, US will only give you a 0.15 yield, and China will give you a 2.73 yield over a 2-period time. So in view of the currency the bond yield differentials, I also kind of look at the manufacturing PMI. All right, so manufacturing PMI for China over here, okay, and comparing it with the manufacturing PMI for the US. All right, so again, the PMI is an interesting statistic to look at. Let me just scroll down a bit. Yeah, so the PMI is interesting to look at because it's kind of a measure of the prevailing direction of economic trends in terms of manufacturing. So it's done with a monthly survey of the supply chain managers across the various industries, and the values and movements in the PMI and its components sometimes can provide a useful insight to business decision makers or even for market analysts, investors, and it's like a leading indicator of the overall economic activity in the country we're looking at. So if we just look at PMI, you can see that the last PMI figures, the US PMI has been revised lower, the China PMI has been revised higher. So in terms of just manufacturing sector or the economic trend we're looking at, China already does have kind of a favorable position. Then we have let me just go back to a bit of charts to look at. And okay, let me just close this. Okay, so let's look at a little bit of charts. Where is mine? Okay, so if you look at charts, right, we are looking at, again, I'm looking at USD. So you can see there is a so-called weakness in the dollar, and this spike over here towards the downside is probably because of the unemployment figures that came out last week. It was less favorable than expected. I'm going to look at CNY USD to kind of look at the directional move. So again, I'm a bit more bullish on the CNY, and my favorite tradable currency against this pair would be the Aussie dollar. You can see this is my scribbles from last week. I purposely left it on, to show the trajectory. So I'm going to delete it this week and let's draw something new. So again, like I said, I don't try to predict the direction. I'm just reading what the market is telling me and finding an opportunity to enter. So once again, we already have this move that we found last week based on China's strength, right? So Aussie will have kind of a strength in. It's already extended a little bit. What I am going to wait for next week is see whether there's any pullback and continue trading this towards the upside with one eye again on the China market. As long as CNY is strengthening, I will be a bit more long towards the Aussie dollar. I am very conscious, however, of the technical aspects of the trade as well, because the technical parts do help me avoid rushing into entries. So there is a level over here that might need a little bit of boost to break. Right, so instead of rushing into it, I probably will observe next week. Next week will probably be an interesting week because it will be the week that tells me whether or not the CNY USD will do this. Okay, the CNY USD will do this, or will this lose steam, and come back and retrace from here? So this is a question mark for me next week. So next Monday, Tuesday will be an interesting period to observe the CNY, and with that, of course, the Aussie pairs in general. This will be an observation area as well, whether or not the Aussie will find the power to break and retest above this area, or will it come back down and retest this area. So this is my watch list next week, more for medium to long term, the Aussie trade with one eye on the renminbi movements as well. So that's all I have for this week, Paul.
Cheers, Alexis. Looks like some pretty good analysis last week. Your scribbles from last week seem to suggest the Aussie was going to do exactly what it did versus the US dollar. Nice work, Alexis, for those that were following that. And thank you very much for your work on fundamentals. Next up for us, we've got Ash. This is going to talk about the data that moves markets for different currency pairs. So if fundamentals are the main driver, datas are really the timing tool. They tell us when things are more likely to happen, particularly on the seasonal stuff that caught a little bit longer. What are you looking at this week, Ash?
Do you know, it's quite a quiet report in some respects this week. There's a couple of notable things, though. So if we look here, this is quite interesting. We were talking about we've been talking about Bitcoin recently. Look how much little the shorts changed from last week. The short sellers are down by down by negative 39%. So the shorts, in according to COT data, have just left, and the longs have just increased their positions just a little bit. So this is only week on week, but I think that's quite notable. And we did see a rally with Bitcoin this week. The other notable one here is the Swissy. We look down here at the Swissy. The shorts have increased their positions by 14%, and but at the same time the longs have decreased their position, but only by negative 5%. So that could be a little bit negative for the Swissy. So there are a couple of things. So if we're looking longer term, then the picture is very different, and the thing with both the Swissy and Bitcoin is that the longer term data, and this is what I'd really want to see. I'd really want to see that longer term data kind of match this short term data, so we get a little bit more of a immediate signal. Now, if we look at the Swissy, then this is where the index currently lies, which is just around about the 50% mark. So the longer term read on this is relatively unclear in many respects. You can see that these are the extremes, down at 0 and up near 100. So because we're floating in this area, then it's not so useful. But it would be, I think it's going to be an interesting week for the Swissy, because, as I say, that the short-term move has been for those shorts to increase their positions, and also Bitcoin with the shorts just to get out of the way. So that really leaves us to kind of try and get a read from what do the longer-term seasonals suggest, and is there any confluence with the longer-term seasonals in relation to this short-term move with the Swissy? And this is where we do get a little bit more of a corroborating bit of evidence here. The short-term move on the seasonals are down for really starting next week. So as it starts on Monday, we do see potentially the Swissy starting to weaken into around about the June period, and the same with the weighted average as well. So the Swissy could be one to watch this week. If you don't like the fact that those longer term points of information are not clear enough, so you're not likely to be holding on to something if you do get a sell signal with a Swissy. But sell signals with a Swissy may well have some follow through, because the short term COT data suggests that the short positions have increased, and the seasonals suggest that that there is some weakness coming with the market as well. We'll also have a look at some other aspects as well, which I think is quite notable. Gold. And this is really where we start to go, well, actually, is it a week that we just either look for those short-term signals, or are we waiting just that little bit longer? That May the 14th particular day, that the potential D-Day of May the 14th, this might be enough to put people just on the sidelines for this week. And look at that, minus 2% decrease for the shorts, and 0% for gold. Sorry, that's copper. Here we go. 0% for gold on the shorts, and minus 4% for the longs. So really, there's not anything notable there that we can latch onto, and it's like that right across the board. So I don't want to list everything that we've got here, but if you look at the change of interest from this particular week, there's not really a lot going on. The Aussie is one of the ones that I think is most notable, because if there is a downward movement into the stock market, the Aussie is the one that I'd be looking at as a currency that would be most likely to follow it down. And you can see here that that the change from last week, it doesn't look like the commercials are currently on the move. 0% change in the short side, 0% change in the long side, and even though, when we look at the actual longer term index for the COT data, it would suggest that there is some weakness, potentially building for the Aussie. It's not saying that those particular positions were put on last week. So I'd like to see just a bit more evidence. Now, it doesn't mean that if we do get a signal with the stock market that it's coming down, that we shouldn't try and jump on board an Aussie short. But it will make it that we are going to be slightly ahead of the information that we won't get, to be fair, until Friday from the COT data. So we do have to remember that the COT data is reported on Tuesday, but only is gathered on the Tuesday, but only then reported on the Friday. So we do have a 3-day wait before we really know what the commercials are doing week on week. But if we want to have that little bit more comfort and confidence, we will have to wait until next week before we get a genuine signal from what these guys are doing with the likes of the Aussie and the Kiwi, which is another notable one, because as I say, you know, when we look at the Aussie, look at the seasonals with this, very, very weak. You know, this and the Kiwi are the steepest moves to the downside. So potentially a change coming, but no clear signals on the short term, except potentially in Bitcoin and the Swissy. And that's me wrapping up, mate.
Cheers, Ash. Thanks for interesting stuff. I noticed that Bitcoin, these numbers came out Friday, and Bitcoin's rallied a little bit over the weekend, up around 58.5, 58.6 at the moment, and continuing up. And we're looking for Swiss weakness, so we're looking for a dollar Swiss rally, right?
Yeah, it would certainly appear that way. If you just look at the week's change from this week to last week, that would certainly suggest that that the Swissy shorts have just started to build a little bit. So there could be a little bit of fluctuation in the dollar Swiss to the upside.
Cool. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, obviously after NFP on Friday, we've got a great opportunity for those that are looking for that trade with the big sell in the US dollar. If you're going to make that play, Monday, Tuesday would be the time to make that play. If you were looking for it, you'd think and maybe this is a trade that perhaps shouldn't go against the US dollar given the bearish nature of the US dollar, but the US dollar may continue down and blunt it a little bit, but this certainly looks like an opportunity. It certainly looks like an opportunity. A little bit of buying coming here. You'd be a bit interested in it, right?
I would also say that we need to be aware that because of what happened last week on Friday and the driver was bearish for the dollar, we are waiting for that driver to go long before we wait for the technical pattern. I wouldn't want to just buy into it because the technicals shape up. What's going to be the driver? So we need to look at the fundamental data release this week.
Cheers, Ash. Thank you very much for that. Next up, we have got Ainslie on the golden edge. Ainslie Gold finally.
Hey.
Ainslie Gold has finally moved. Is that good news or what?
Oh, look, all I can say is with the NFPs on the week on Friday night, was that the best result ever? Oh boy, I was so excited. Really, really excited. Hello, there we go. There's NFPs, my 4-hourly chart, far left one, and off it went, off it took. And we have had a retracement, obviously. It did hit resistance, but yeah, we were doing a little happy dance and getting very excited because it could have gone the other way, which would have been really, really ugly. But after all this consolidation, we've had a lot of consolidation, and it's just like been drawing teeth. And I know I've been boring as every week going, well, I'm bookending Shukri and Shukri's going, yeah, everybody's made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm just going, yeah, we've gone sideways again, still. But as you said, it's part of trading. And I finally got a good move. And that was purely with, as Ash has said, the US dollar dropping. The new jobs that were added was only 226,000. The range that they were giving was somewhere between 500,000 and 2 million. But didn't even go close, didn't even touch it. So the US dollar, that is why the US dollar just dropped. The other thing to take a little bit of, and I'm really cautious with this because we know that the market's been really, it's been a little bit more fundamentally biased because there is a few things happening out there that we're in sort of like new territory here. And if you have listened to Gordon and his charts, he is predicting that coming up in the stock market, in the equity market, that there could be a shift in direction, and that will also have an impact on gold as well. But what we're seeing here is a bull flag, a massive bull flag that I've had in place for quite some. In fact, I had it quite some weeks now. I had it down on this level, and we've had the double bottom, we've had the higher low, and now we've broken out of this channel. Now, yeah, you could say that there's another line there, but I'm looking for that. If that technical chart plays out, we're heading well past 2,000. We're heading up towards 3,000. Yes, they are weekly. That is a weekly chart. That could take some time. However, let's see where we go to from here. If the US dollar continues to diminish, then we will look at gold continuing in its upward rally. I wouldn't see it not wanting to go and have a look, see at the 200 moving average, simple moving average on a chart, basically because that's what it does. It goes and looks for that kind of stuff. It's also technical level of R2. So pull back, we'll come and check the levels that it's broken, and then we'll see how we pan out for next week. But yeah, it was very good to see that, Paul. I was very, very excited. And I did sit up and nurse at home until I couldn't stay up any longer. But
Ainsley, with it being gold and the way that it behaves, we've seen, as you've said, a lovely double bottom. We've seen a higher low, we've seen another higher low, we've seen a spike up. Are we ranging now between sort of 1817 and 1830 for a little while? Do you think it's likely to consolidate and then bust again? It doesn't tend to go sideways and then go, doesn't it?
It does, and it does come back and check levels as it, it's always very respectful of the levels it's broken. But where we are at the moment, sitting there at 1830 and flip between up to 1850, that's probably next week's job. And yeah, it's just been a very slow consolidation. When it gets to certain levels, it'll come and react against certain highs and lows, resistance and support. And then it'll go on and do its next thing. But it depends on what catalyst. I mean, the catalyst obviously on Friday night was the NFPs, and bang, she took off. But we'll see. And I'm just treading really carefully because I don't want to get too excited at all. But that's what we've got here at the moment. So just you've got an inside bar followed by an inside bar. Let's see what plays out next week.
Cheers, Ainsley. Thank you very much. And next up, thank you very much. Always interesting to find out about gold, Ainsley. And I do think that it could be one of the movers for the next few months. It does seem in the mood to do a little bit more than it's done recently. So thank you for that. Look, as we look around these markets, we've done gold. We've had a look at the fundamentals. We've had a look at the data. Next, we're going to have a look at cryptocurrency. Shukri, is it still the incredibly exciting world of cryptocurrency?
Yeah, and it's a very exciting week this week, and I'll tell you why. It's a moment-changing week this week, actually. But let's see the charts first. Okay, Bitcoin struggling to go above 60. This is good. This means that other coins are moving because the dominance is really coming down. And you see Ethereum has gone almost double to what we called it at 2002. Polkadot has gone up like $4 or $5 since the call last week. It's gone out $17 since whatever that was made. That was made before Ethereum, right? So this is what's happening when Bitcoin is steady. The other guys get a chance to move, and now the issue is will Ethereum flip Bitcoin? In 2017, it was within 7% of that. So that is the new narrative now for Ethereum. But don't
hold on. I don't understand. Yeah. Ethereum's at $4,000. Bitcoin's at $57,000. What do you mean by flip?
I'm talking about this market cap.
Oh, market cap. Yep.
They go above that. So in 2017, it was within 7%. Was that early 2018? Well, that was early 2018. Very close.
Mate, I can't even tell you what that number is.
Oh, yeah. That means Ethereum could go up to 10. Of course, now they're saying it goes up to 5 first before it goes up to 10. So this is something that's very good because now, they've already said they're going to kick out the miners by the end of the year. So it's going to be cheaper.
As a man who lives this stuff, watching Bitcoin struggle is okay for you. Okay. Bitcoin's the shop window for crypto, right? It's the thing that people look at. For you, seeing Bitcoin stop here, because I do think it's a bit of crunch time. I sort of feel like if it doesn't get through 60, it's going to retest 60 grand. And when it does, if it doesn't come in, then next week we're going to have Ash talking about head and shoulders, and it's going to start looking pretty bearish.
That's why we're waiting for D-Day now. But tomorrow, something is going to happen because on Friday, okay, 2009 was Bitcoin. 2015 was Ethereum. On Friday, this was launched, Diffinity. Okay, Diffinity is actually a blockchain computer where it runs on the internet at the speed of the internet. Now, I know some of you guys, the internet is not fast, but it's faster than Ethereum now, and the gas will be much cheaper. And look at this. This is the first crypto ever in history to be listed on day one. You know, Paul was telling you, crypto start on the lower exchange, then they go to Binance, then they go to Coinbase. Coinbase is like, you're it. You've been recognized by the whole world, but this guy is going to go straight into Coinbase. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And the best thing of all this one, you guys aren't going to believe it. This one, you couldn't buy it in the IDO. It was an airdrop. You needed to know about the airdrop, and all you needed to do was submit your KYC, pay $9 and submit it on a passport, because that's what they accepted. And now there are people selling the airdrop accounts for like 20,000 US. So here's what's going to happen. This is a complete ecosystem like Ethereum. Now it's going to come out at either 150, which means the airdrop is worth 17,000 US, or it's going to go to 300, which means the airdrop is worth 35,000 US. That's an airdrop, okay, pure airdrop. You didn't need to do anything. Passport, guys, passport. Or it's going to come out at 500, which means the airdrop is worth 60,000. Whatever it is, let's look back what has happened, because people are asking me, do you buy well?
Sorry, mate. Sorry to jump in, mate, but
yeah.
Can we still do this, or have we missed it?
No, the airdrop is over. But this
Did you ring me and tell me?
This was 2 years ago. This was 2 years ago. So anyway, the thing is now for people who want to buy, let's look at Flow. Flow open at 100x. If Diffinity opens at 100x, it will be $430. Now, this is what happened to Flow. Once it opened at 100x, it then got dumped 40%. Very normal for crypto, very normal for crypto. And then it went up like 5-6 times after that. And so don't do anything in Diffinity. I know we like it, but this is, let's see what happens tomorrow. And let's see, this is the biggest airdrop in history. Now, if you look at the airdrop of, what was that, Uniswap, and it went up 10 times right after that dump. Let's see what happens to Diffinity. But yeah, exciting times. And yeah, get your passport ready, guys. So a lot of people, some people in the group have it. So that's what I do. I just sell half and I just hold the rest.
So Shukri, where does the money come for the biggest airdrop in history?
It comes from a lot of venture capitalists like Andreessen Horowitz and all that. So the venture capitals are doing this. So these are for people who are in the Telegram group and basically who are active members. So you were talking about airdrops now, Paul. I know that in your mind, you didn't have an idea that an airdrop could be worth 17,000 US to 60,000 US. And if you had told me that 2 years ago that, if I heard this, hey, if that happened, I'm going to jump in the sea. Luckily, I didn't make that promise because I would have to jump in the sea. It goes, that changes the nature of airdrop in a whole different league. Like anything now can happen, guys. Anything.
Mate, it's an amazing world, isn't it? As you know, one of my mates got into privacy swap at about 7 cents. I think it's about $40 at the moment. That's in about 3 weeks. I think they have made some money. Mate, thank you for that. So Monday, tomorrow's the big day. We're going to have Diffinity straight onto Coinbase. We're going to see what that does. We're expecting it to launch. Big airdrop. Yep. The price will probably drop after that. Then it'll be good buying and potentially a rally. We'll have to wait and see. But a big day. And then we've got end of the week. Let me just ask you this: if Gordon Scott's right, and even Gordon Scott says, "Look, it's a seasonal thing. It's not a day thing. He's not going to pick the day the whole world collapses." If Gordon Scott has picked the day that the whole world collapses, then he'll never work again, right? He is going to be able to sell his services to any fund in the world, right? 14th of May, I'm calling the end of the world. Oh, Gordon is, but I can say I am because I'm on the show with him. But if on the 14th of May the world crashes, Shukri, what's it do to Bitcoin?
Okay. Let's look at Ash's analysis on COT just now. So the COT people know something, right? They don't want to short. And they don't want to buy too. You already saw the chart. They just don't want to buy. Everyone's worried about the taxes. Now, this is what happens seasonally, Ash. End of May is usually seasonally strong for Bitcoin. there's something called consensus at the end of May. And they're going to talk up Bitcoin then. That's why people don't want to sell. And also for Polkadot, there's an event. Consensus is 28th and 29th, 27th and 28th of May. There's also an event for Polkadot on 19th and 20th of May, and they'll end up Polkadot. So, if we go to hell, it's only for a short time.
Like it, Shukri. Thank you very much. As always, enjoy the update. Thank you very much. Always good to hear what's going on in the crypto world. If you want to see more from Shukri, he's on Mondays and Wednesdays on Crypto Moon. And that photo was not yesterday. That photo is a few weeks ago, and he was a little bit younger. Next up, we have got Ainslie to talk oil. After Ainslie comes along and does oil, we're going to have Lloyd doing currency strength and Geoff doing the technician of 2 cents worth. Ainslie, oil. How's it? I'm holding my long. I've been pretty happy holding it for a while now.
Hold it, Paul. Yeah, hold that long. I would definitely be holding that long. Where's my oil gone? Where's it? It's down here. Under my other favourite new friend, copper. We had a bit of a pullback last week, and that's to be a bit expected. There was a few fundamental things happening in the market economically anyway. But towards the end of the week, we saw it sort of hit this double. We've got, a double bottom here, reversal, and there are a few things that are coming out just towards the end of this last week. One was India has just put a huge order through for oil from Saudi Arabia at a discounted price, but that is a lot to do with Modi has been having this $1.8 trillion expansion and revamping architectural expansion of Delhi. And he's still pushing ahead with that. Some say that's possibly a little bit tone deaf just at the moment, but he's saying, no, we've got to get this economy going and pushing it along. So that happened towards the end of last week. The other one was, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out when the markets open on Monday, there was a cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline in the US over the weekend. It shut it down. So how that will impact prices of oil, let's see how that goes. And thirdly, there was the UK has announced that they're opening up for vaccinated Brits that they can start travelling to 12 green zone countries. The only problem with that was 4 of those countries still have their international borders closed, which were Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, and Brunei. So Boris sort of missed that. But the whole idea of that is people are getting back on a plane, and that is just going to start, if not slowly, kickstarting things again. So towards the end of the week, we had a lot of fundamental, and over the weekend, some information there that is really going to see. And if you look at this on the daily chart, we're in an uptrend there, Paul. So yeah, I would be holding those. I'd be holding those longs. I really would. So yeah, hit resistance, pull back. That's on a technical basis. We've got a pin bar there. The next step is to hopefully break resistance, retest, and see it starting to head towards 70. That's where I think it's going.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, Angie. Thank you very much for the analysis. It's always interesting to have a look at it. I think particularly when you've got a position in, I've been I took oil in Aston Geoff's show maybe 2 months ago at $60, and when you've got a position, you always have a little bit of a bias. It's always nice to have someone else have a look at a chart and see whether they concur with your agreement, your opinion or not. I'll be holding on to my longs for now, even into D-Day from Gordon.
Yeah, so the other thing is summer seasonal bias is also around the corner as well with May as well. So we're expecting it to keep on going up anyway. So that's just the extra icing on the cake.
I love it. Cheers, Ainslie. Thank you very much for that.
See you later.
Yeah. Have a good evening. Next up, we have got Lloyd coming in and talking about currency strength matrix or currency strength, currency strength matrix. Different currencies, like we have the dollar index. He's going to talk about currencies and different indexes and talk about what they can do for us. Lloyd, over to you.
All right, thank you, Paul. So let's go through my trades from last week, rather the recommended trades. Yeah, so I wanted to go short on Aussie Kiwi, and this is what happened on Monday morning. Price shot up. I actually placed a pending order below. I didn't get triggered in. So eventually, price actually went haywire. If you look at this, it will be in a range. So not that interested in trading anymore. Last week, I also placed a trade in dollar cat. Yeah, so dollar cat, I had one stop out. you can see this very nice looking high test bar of the horizontal level. It got stopped up. Actually triggering got stopped up by next bar. And I continue on placing my second trade, which got me my very nice 3:1 on Friday itself. Yep. So that was a winner for me. The third trade, which I recommended, was Euro Yen. Yep. So I actually placed a trade over here. Yeah, this was an engulfing bar, but I didn't get triggering. Eventually, it comes to the level which I wanted to trade. So another trade, I put it in, which was an engulfing bar, and I also got my 3:1 winner. So that was a good week for me last week. Now for this week, let's have a look at the indices and what they are telling us, or rather what they are telling me, from what I can conclude. Okay. So the first off my list is actually the Euro indices. You can see that price went above 120, retested, and then last week, yeah, it actually closes as an engulfing bar. So this was a very strong validation for me. Closes bullishly off a strong horizontal level. So I will be bullish for Euro the coming week ahead. Now CAT is also very nice. So previously I had my horizontal level at 80. Yeah, it was and price, you can see that all these ugly looking wicks, it broke above. Yeah, so I was bullish about CAT. Now it seems that after every extension, I do expect some sort of retracement, and you can see that also at, let me see, $83, we do have some rejection from CAS. So although I'm bullish about CAT, I would say I'm cautiously bullish. I will still be looking to long CAT, but my position for CAT will possibly be half from now on. Yeah, because I'm anticipating a retracement, but doesn't mean that I'll give up any good setups. I will still enter the setups, but just I'm anticipating a retracement from now on. Now Kiwi, on the other hand, I'm not quite sure where Kiwi is going. You can see that price actually bounces off $70, but I don't have, from I would say late November onwards last year, yeah, I don't have very clear cyclicity on the weekly chart. So I'm a bit cautious about Kiwi. Slightly bullish about it simply because it did bounce off a strong horizontal level. So I'm anticipating that it will actually go all the way to 75. Yeah. So the bullish sentiment about Kiwi is not as strong compared to Euro and CAT for the moment. Swiss price is at a horizontal level, so I'm anticipating the bearish sentiment will come back from here. Yeah, but till price action shows me, I cannot confirm. That's why I'm staying out of Swiss at the moment. Now, the British pound, interestingly, still decides to range. Now it's at 140, very strong horizontal level. So I'm cautiously bearish about it. Yeah, I'm going to look for bearish setup for the British pound, but pending price action and cyclicity on lower time frame. As you can see on the weekly time frame, it still wants to range. Yeah, of course, there's always a fair chance that it will break above 140, but I'm not betting on that when it comes to horizontal level. So be cautious about it. Now yen, my sentiment for yen is still bearish. You can see that this is very nice selling, retracement, seller's bar. Last week was a buyer's bar. So I'm hoping that, now I'm using the word hoping. Yeah, hoping that some sellers will come back pending price action confirmation. Yeah, so you can, on a very short term, I do have a horizontal level here. You can see from the past. Yeah, this is a very, very minor horizontal level. So we shall see what will happen to yen in the coming week ahead. Aussie. Yeah, so Aussie has come back to the high of the range. So I'll be bearish about it. So that, again, this is a ranging pair for quite some time already. Yeah. So I did had a bearish play, didn't went very far, and then now it come back to the top of the range. So I'm going to be bearish about it again. Simple as that. And the last is DXY. Yeah. So DXY was, I have a very handsome payout from DXY. Price is now coming to $90. Very strong horizontal level. You can see that it didn't breaks in the past. Yeah. So I'm also going to be bearishly, cautiously bearish about USD. Yeah. But since the cyclicity is nice for this, I'm still going to go in any short setup. So for the upcoming week ahead, for the strongest and weakest play, I'm going to long euro dollar. You can see that it actually, price actually broke the highest, the high from last week. No, the previous week. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for any sort of retracement. Again, I'll be playing the break and retest. Aussie CAT, you see for a short term last week, price is in a range. I'm just waiting for a break and retest of this range, and I'm happy to go short. So this will be the two pairs that I'll be keeping a close watch on for the coming week ahead. That's all, Paul.
Cheers, Lloyd. Fascinating stuff. Good to see you had a good week with it too, and looking forward to another one next week. We're going to wind our show up with the technician's 2 cents. We're going to have Geoff come in and have a look at charts technically and see what he's thinking. He was, like a few of us, away last week. Good to have him back this week. Geoff, are you with us?
G'day, PB, and hello, everyone. Yes, I am here and looking forward to the week ahead, I must say. Having had a very, very busy week in Australia, I mean the mainland, over the past 10 days or so. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. It is the first one on my watch list. Interestingly, I normally at this time have viewed some pairs that have nice reversal bars and potentially inside bars. That's not the case this week. So I've turned my attention to things that I believe are at the top or the bottom of a range, and we can take advantage of those particular scenarios. Now, pound US dollar, as we all know, the number came out on Friday. Well, a succession of numbers came out on Friday that forced the US dollar down and therefore pound US dollar up. I'm interested in this because it's pretty much at the top of my range here. And if you have a look at these levels across here around about the 140 mark, it doesn't like it above there in the recent past. However, the biggest picture here is telling me that we've got a massive double bottom and we are going to go over time higher. And I believe that some stage we'll go up to these areas. I don't reckon that's going to be now, however, but it is at what we all call an inflection point. Now, that inflection point for me is this horizontal level. I believe that we are going to see a retracement this week on pound US dollar. And the daily chart is the reason I believe that, because we are at the top of this range that we have been in since March of 2021, which is what, 3 months ago? 2 months ago. Where are we? May. So this is a 2-month-old range, and I'm expecting, well, one of two things is going to happen here. As I said, we're at an inflection point. We're either going to go and test these highs, or we're going to come back into this range and go back towards the pivots. And I'm happy either way. I don't really care, but my bias is to the downside. And early in the week, I'll be looking for something of a lower high in here. If we break out to the top side, I'll be looking for it to come back inside. So either way, I'll be happy with that. Earliest opportunities, of course, are going to come on a smaller time frame. So if we do come off this level here and put in a lower high, maybe at this level, then I would look to trade it short. Second chart I'm looking at is Kiwi Yen. Now, Kiwi Yen is now in its 7th month of bullish activity. And it started, of course, with this big reversal bar sitting here, or low test bar, whatever you want to call it. We had a retracement off the first move. We've had absolutely no retracement off the second phase of this move up. And for that reason, I believe we are at the top of, again, a range on the smaller time frames. You can see it's been historically a level that price reacts off, and the weekly chart's going to tell me that. There they are, the tops there that we haven't been able to pierce through. And I don't believe that now has got any reason for that to be the time. So it may push out to the top side. So give us one more push and maybe come back inside that area there. And that's what I'll be looking for early in the week. If we can push through these highs, I'll be looking for it to go in the opposite direction. Obviously, if it takes off, it takes off, but that won't be my bias. I'll be looking for this to break to the top side, come back underneath, give us a lower high, and then we can look to trade it short. Well, how far is the question? And I really haven't got a strong opinion on that, but it looks like that level there may be in play. So maybe 300 pips. There is that move if it does come. It may be even a little bit further than that. You might even be looking for this down here, which is probably the most or the more obvious level. So that's got a fair way to pull back, and that would be a pretty decent trade if we can get into it. So Kiwi Yen, looking to trade that short. Kiwi CAD, this is the monthly chart once again, and you can see there is a bigger range in here. And maybe we are headed to the bottom of that again, which probably pulls up exactly where I've got the smaller range. There's a clear indicator that there's a false break of this resistance trend line here. And if that's the case, then we're probably just going to go straight to the bottom. I'm not really of that that opinion because, well, I'm of that opinion, but I don't see that I can trade that because we are at a support level. You can see that there's been support through here in the past. So I'd like to see a rally, put in a second lower high. There's a lower high based off the bounce off the top. There's your first lower high. I'll be looking for a second lower high in this vicinity, maybe at the monthly pivot area. And then I can look to trade it short, taking profit before we get to that support trade line. So that would be probably where I'll be looking. Daily charts showing that we've gone into range here, but interestingly, couldn't get above the weekly pivot last week, certainly couldn't get above the monthly pivot, which is as yet untested. So that's exactly where I would like price to go, up to the monthly pivot, and give us a look at breaking through that trade line that goes down through the most recent lows. The final one, very, very similar to Kiwi Yen, of course. This has been on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, again, 7 months or 7th month, if you like, of bull market. And really in the middle of nowhere in terms of trend lines, but there is a horizontal level through here. I don't think it's the best horizontal level that I've ever seen, but it has gone in range here, and we're testing the top of that range. Well, we've been through the top of that range rather, and we're testing the most recent high, which goes back to February somewhere, I think, maybe even beyond that. I again think this is an inflection point, not necessarily going south, but I would be biased in that direction until we break that high. Again, there may be a breakout of that high, and if we pull back underneath that, I'll be looking to trade it short. Maybe back towards, this trend line area, which will probably have a confluence with the bottom of this range or something in that vicinity. I'll be looking for this to show me which way it wants to go. Of course, it can break out. There's no question there. But at the top right now, I'll be looking for a retracement at the least. And if that comes as a lower high, then that's probably the best way to look at it. Then I'll probably be looking for it to bounce later on off the bottom of this range, or if you like, the trade line that will go through here as well. But for now, I am a little bit bearish Aussie yen. And look, there's two ways to look at Aussie yen, and I've done exactly that. But the upside seems to be limited at the moment. We've had this big phase 1. We've had this big phase 2. I'm definitely looking for a pullback here at the moment. And if that comes off the top here right now, as I've just described it, then happy days. We should look to trade that this week short. So that, in essence, Paul, is my 2 cents worth.
Cheers, Geoff. Thank you very much for that. Great way to finish up the show today. Again, got to say, I'm looking forward to this week ahead. A lot of different views on this market, lots of potential. We've had this, long anticipated week where we may see the start to the like really a historical turn in the US markets, where the COVID pandemic we've rallied all the way through it, and all of a sudden, do we get this big pullback that people have been expecting? Does Gordon get to pick it particularly accurately? How will gold react to that? How will Bitcoin react to that? How will different currencies react to that? Could be a fascinating week in store. One thing we could have is plenty of opportunities to make some money as that unfolds. So thank you, Geoff, and thank you to the team. It's been great to have your company today. Thank you, Alexis, for the fundamentals, Ash for the data, Ainsley for gold and oil, Shukri for crypto. Thank you for Lloyd for currency strength, and thank you guys all for joining us. We'll see you guys back here next Sunday, same time, same channel. We'll be doing the same thing, and on tomorrow morning we'll be cutting up, or tonight we'll be cutting up the sessions into smaller sessions, so you can pick them up on YouTube should you wish to, or Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your company. See you next week. Team, I'll see you in the meeting in 2 minutes. See you guys. Bye.